Alabama had their A-Day yesterday. A little bit of a different format, right? You don't have the standard spring game that we've been accustomed to having on our television the last couple of years. But still, it's football, baby. 11-on-11 football was happening in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Charlie Potter over at Bama Online broke down all of it. So go get a membership over there for all the intel. It's just a little tip of the iceberg. But if you want to see more Bama content on this channel, all you got to do is let us know by hitting subscribe. When you subscribe to this video, or watching this video, subscribe to this channel, it lets us know that you want to see more Bama content. Supply and demand. We try and supply what you demand. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button. We appreciate y'all in advance for doing that. Y'all, I'm going to be real. Going through the intel from this A-Day, a lot of this was just kind of confirmation of what we've been saying all spring long for Alabama. The quarterbacks, we'll start there. Ty Simpson, still looking like the guy. Consistently took the first rep of the group. Now, does that mean he's your starting quarterback game one? Not necessarily. Things going to progress. Things going to evolve as we get into the fall. But he's been the most steady of the group. There was 3 turnovers from the quarterback room yesterday. None of them came from Ty Simpson. Was told he was efficient. Was told he was pretty dialed in. I mean, that's what I've been asking from Ty Simpson, right? That's what we've been asking for from Ty Simpson. Last year, Jalen Milroe was all over the map. He was great against Georgia, and then he's like nowhere to be found against Oklahoma, and then he's, awesome one game and bad the next, and it was so confusing if you were a Bama fan. Because there were times last year, you look at the best offense in college football, and there were also times where you're like, do we have the right guy playing quarterback? All I'll say here is Ty Simpson being steady is what will make Bama successful. All right, being steady is a difference between going 9-3 and missing the college football playoff, or between winning 10, 11 games and having a chance to go compete for a national championship, which is, of course, the standard. So if you believe in rep science, Ty Simpson taking the first rep in line of the group, I think that's worth noting. Austin Mack, a couple of touchdowns, had 2 picks. Again, verification, confirmation, all the things we've said this spring, that's kind of been the story for him. I don't think it's a tools thing from my perspective. We'll get more on that here as we progress, but I think it's a thing where he's just trying to do too much. Now, the unfortunate reality is when you make the mistakes like it sounds like Austin Mack is making, where you try to force things downfield or force it into coverage and you have interceptions, it puts you in a spot where you have to, in some ways, from where my assumption is, I think it probably puts you in a spot where you're maybe a little bit in debt, if that makes sense with the coaching staff. Like every time you set yourself back, you need to do something to make coaches forget about that mistake. So the wow plays he's trying to make downfield need to have more of those wow plays connect to be able to put yourself in a spot to go win this job. Now, I'm not saying he's not going to win the job. I'm not saying he's not factoring in. I just think it's a thing where he's got to clean some things up, and that's been the consistent conversation around him so far throughout spring practice. Was the same conversation yesterday. Now, Kalen Russell, what have we said? Ton of wow throws. Also shows you at times he's an early enrollee freshman. He had 1 interception yesterday, and it was on his first pass of the day, but also had a lot of plays make you say, okay, that's different. Yeah, that's quarterback of the future here in Tuscaloosa. We feel good with him pulling the trigger. I think that as this thing goes further along for both Russell and Mack, the same thing I just said a second ago, as Ty Simpson continues to be steady, in my mind, that's him continuing to hold pole position in this battle. I think it's going to take some wow plays consistently from a Russell and a Mack to be able to ultimately take over that quarterback one job. One more time, I'll say this, though. Ryan Grubb was not in Tuscaloosa last year. Neither was Kalen Russell. Austin Mack was with Ryan Grubb at Washington. But the point I'm trying to make here is Ryan Grubb is still taking inventory of the room itself. So don't let somebody tell you it's Ty Simpson's job and he's running away with it. It's a done deal. Maybe it's Ty Simpson's job if you had to start somewhere tomorrow for Alabama. But this thing is going to go, I think, into the fall, and it will be a job that ultimately I think has to be won in fall camp, is my opinion. Same thing we've said, wide receiver room, it's nasty. It was nasty yesterday. It's going to be nasty in the fall. Ryan Williams was not dressed out. However, Jeremy Bernard looked good. Jeremy Bernard, don't look now, on a trick play, threw a touchdown to Isaiah Horton. Isaiah Horton climbs the ladder, brings it in, long touchdown, kind of the play of the day, got the people going. It's provocative. Isaiah Horton is a different caliber of receiver from a skill set perspective than a Jeremy Bernard or a Ryan Williams. Dude's 6'4". I think having that in the bag for this Bama offense only makes them more dangerous because it just means the defense has to address all of those different skill sets. You got your jitterbug and Ryan Williams, Jitterbug, kind of your slasher and Ryan Williams, your open space kind of guy in Ryan Williams, Jeremy Bernard, who you know what he brings to the table. Then to also have a big body that you have to account for with Isaiah Horton. Like, Bama's going to be in a spot now where they can attack you a lot of different ways. That's going to be a luxury for whoever the quarterback is, and it also places a further emphasis that whoever the quarterback is has to be able to deliver the mail. The receiver room is far too good to have a subpar / inconsistent quarterback in Tuscaloosa here in 2025. The secondary is strong. We've said that all spring long. Xavier Brown had a pick yesterday. Dijon Lee getting some reps with Domani Jackson being injured, but Dijon Lee, same thing we said about Isaiah Horton with his size. Dijon Lee on the defensive side, 6'3", 6'4", to have a guy like that is, being trusted enough to rep some with the ones as a true freshman, early enrollee, should tell you a lot about how the staff feels about him. And to have that kind of size that you can use to try and combat other big body wide receivers, I think that's becoming more and more a non-negotiable in college football. Don't care what class he is. I think Dijon Lee will find his way onto the field in some way, shape, or form for Bama here in 2025. So moving out of spring practice, I want to just remind the rest of college football. Yes, Bama went 9-3 last year. Yes, Nick Saban is now on College game day. He's not coaching the Crimson Tide anymore. Does not mean this roster is not still good enough to go win the SEC. You look at what Bama was last year. Who beat Bama last year? If I'm going to be real here, I think more often than not, Bama beat Bama. Like, Tennessee was the only game that I looked to and say, you know what, yeah, the roster probably was superior or maybe in the same tier as what Alabama had. That's probably a fair point to make. But no shade to Oklahoma or Vanderbilt. Those rosters aren't better than Bama. Bama beat Bama in both those spots. Bama had the self-inflicted wounds that kept them from winning those football games. So what I'm trying to make sure we say here is Alabama still can go make a run at this thing. And that's kind of how you should feel if you're anyone out of spring practice, if you have a roster worth your salt. But I really think that if they have the quarterback to push it downfield, receivers are nasty. I think Ryan Grubb is a offensive savant. He's proven that multiple times throughout his career. The secondary, I think going into another year under Kane Womack, and the defense as a whole will be in position to go make some good things happen. Bama has to figure out how to get back to their consistency and their overall just temperature they operate at that had them winning big-time football games before Kalen DeBoer. I think that'll be more present here in 2025 with another year where everyone's kind of on the same page and some battle scars to go with it. So, Bama fans, again, make sure you're subscribed. Cato on the ones and twos. For myself, JD PicKell, we appreciate y'all. We love y'all. We will keep this party rolling. We will see y'all next time.